match 3. One that I have a personal interest in. Wagner Bortolato versus Devon Larratt. Left-handed. I already said what I think is going to happen. I will say it again, but go ahead on this one.
No, you take this is your weight class, so you go ahead.
Well, it's my weight class. It's my preferred arm. I look forward to a match with either one of these guys. I think that if Devon wins, maybe I get the match. Maybe even if Devon loses, I get the match with Devon. But if Wagner wins, who would they possibly put him against? Because if Wagner wins, he is going to set off proverbial fireworks on that stage. He might throw Bart into the crowd. He might rip the table right out of the floor. The guy's a lunatic. And when he wins, he puts on a show. And I think WAL is going to want to capture that again. Now, what other match makes sense for him left-handed should he get by Devon? I know we're not at the prediction stage here yet, but answer me that. Is there anyone else? What do you think?
Well, there's you. There's Eric Wolfel, who's a big left dominant guy with a huge history and a legacy behind him. Travis, but then again, there's issues with contract issues. But I mean, if we're opening up the left-handed gates, I mean, we can do a whole episode on possible left-handed matches in any weight class.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen. That's why I'm kind of a fan of this match happening, only because it opens doors. Right?
If Wagner wins, the left arm division goes on. If Devon wins, not necessarily, because they're trying. Like Devon could just decide he's going to pull right-handed next season.
Yeah.
I think that there is no position on that table outside of possibly Devon using a king's move, which he is not as proficient at the left hand, that he can stop Wagner in. I think Wagner is coming in here with so much horsepower that the match can go just about anywhere and he will win it. That is my opinion.
First of all, the Brazilian's a monster, and what I like about him and why kudos for WAL for getting this guy on the card is that he's super animated, but in a very genuine way, not disingenuous like you see some guys slap the table and they're acting. They're trying to be something. They're trying to do something that they're not. This guy is. We've seen him get super animated at fucking Worlds where they don't really want him to get animated. This dude is legit animated. He's explosive. He's a big dude. I'm thinking 6'4", 260. Like this guy's well built, aggressive South American dude. I think you underestimated a little bit Devon's right to his left when it comes to king moving. I think the king moves comes from the brain. If one arm can king move, I almost believe your other arm can king move, even if you've never even trained it to king move. You know the nuances, the general mechanics. It might take you a couple, weeks, months to refine and perfect it, but I believe he can king him. I think the only thing he can do is king him. But yeah, I think you can definitely look at this thing, seeing as Devon's in a lot of trouble here. The problem is Bortolato is a one-dimensional stud, and Devon, even though as he's declining in time, right? Can Wagner can he top roll? I mean,
absolutely he can. It's not his go-to, but I have seen just about everything happen on the table with Wagner. He can do it. It's not his go-to. He's kind of like an explosive Dave Randall.
Okay,
but
my concern with this guy is I don't know how sharp he is. I don't know how composed he can be when, much like we saw in the last one with the Australian remaining super composed his first exposure to WAL rules. Danny, I'm talking about. So I don't know how's this guy going to react when Devon goes right over his thumb and gets a quick win and the ref doesn't call you a false start. How's he going to react? Is he going to get pissed? Is he going to be able to adapt? He's a great athlete, but what have we seen in the last 5 years from this guy? I haven't seen anything from him in the last 5 years except a couple of training videos.
True enough. That being said, though, what have we seen from Devon in the last 5 years with the left arm? We saw him get smoked by Saplenkov, but what else has there been?
But he's been active. We know he trains it. We know because when the right had surgery, the left picked up the slack, and for a while his left was a dominant arm. Andre Pushkar, that super match isn't that long ago. I mean, it's more recent. His match with Andre is more recent than the last thing we've seen from Bortolato. So I mean, you have to look at it that way. There's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of unknowns here, especially that it's Devon's left. But for me, like I said in the last episode, if it's WAF rules, if it's Zloty rules, I almost pick any legit heavyweight over Devon either arm. Absolutely, legit. Tier 4 puller, even some threes. But the fact that he's an expert, Devon's an expert at maneuvering the ref and the rules and the setup, and the Brazilian's a rookie in WAL. There's huge potential for him to exploit this. Experience, all that shit. But don't get me wrong, pure horsepower, pure engine strength, Devon doesn't even come close to this guy. I don't even think he has the hand. But anyway, we'll see. But this is definitely.
So what's your call then? What's the match breakdown? Are you going with Devon?
I give Devon the win. I give Devon 2 wins, automatically 2 wins based on shenanigans, setup manipulation, ref intimidation, gamesmanship, cheating, all the bullshit that I can't stand. I give him 2 wins on that. The fact that Wagner doesn't maybe not know how to counter this. I have a flash pin on his side too. A quick flash pin on Devon's side. Again, manipulation of the ref too potentially. So I say 3-2 or 3-1 Devon. My prediction doesn't change from last week. It's hard because I don't have a recent sample size from the South American. I just don't. But
my predictions have been shit lately, so it's going to be. But Randy Ebert says Wagner 3-2. I say if Wagner wins it, it is at best 3-1, if not 3-0. I think if Devon pulls off one match, he's got a real shot to win.
Right.
If he pulls off 2, he'll win for sure.
And to be honest, for me, there's a legit chance Devon loses 3-0. Like if this guy does what we think he can do, and Devon can't manipulate the setup or he can't get what he wants, and this guy's has educated himself in the nuances of WAL setting, WAL arm wrestling and the setup and the rules and all that shit, it can easily be 3-0. It wouldn't surprise me if it's 3-0. I just, Devon's relationship with WAL setups and all the intangible qualities for me buys him 2 wins. And the rest I chalk up to experience.
Yeah. Mohammed Hassan says, nice hoodie, Chris, but it's still summer, isn't it?
It's Canada, buddy. It's Canada. It's like 12 degrees outside.
Right. John Anthony Fernandez saw him chuckle on Facebook when someone else made the comment he was one-dimensional. Man, I got to tell you, I'm probably more excited about this match than any other one on the card. It's I like Wagner a lot, man. I like Wagner a lot.
He's a fucking character, right? He's an explosive character. And it's one thing watching a 160-pound guy go crazy and slap a table. Someone like you just fucking rolls your eyes and laughs. But
he throws the table right off the.
Yeah, this dude is.
There's YouTube videos of him just beating the shit out of the gym, the equipment in the gym, and people are like, "What is he doing?" Well, he's an arm wrestler, so it's probably something weird. But man, I hope he's training really hard and focusing on getting acclimated to what the potential rule differences are in that league.
Yeah. And also to support you, I would also like to see him win. Only to have you a better chance next season to get in there. So I'd love to see that.
If somebody asked me like, who would you rather arm wrestle?
You'd rather arm wrestle Devon.
I got to tell you, well, depends. If I want to, I think I got a better shot at beating Devon.
That's right.
Wagner makes me nervous. Like he is, and if he comes in there and just annihilates Devon, then it's going to be scary for anyone going against him. Like
we don't talk very often about what is the most intimidating move to go against in a tournament or a super match. But if there is obviously, this guy's move is definitely the fact that he's coming down with so much. Yeah, I mean, kind of like the late Andre Pushkar type horsepower, but straight down with a boatload of yelling and aggression. Like
Oh
you're
yeah.
not you're
And
not
if
stopping
you're
with your arm. Yeah.
and if you're in a super match with him, like man, he talks like he's giving it to you the whole time, and he's every match you can't escape it. Like he's relentless,
Yeah.
and you got to find a way to get him out of that zone a little bit. But he also pulled at the Arnold's. A lot of people don't realize this. He pulled right-handed at the Arnold's years ago, and I don't remember the result, but I do remember that Ian Carnegie told me that he felt so strong pressing that he thought he was going to break his arm. Like Ian thought that trying to stop that, he was actually going to snap his own arm.
Well, 2009 Venice, Italy at the Worlds. Ryan Espy, not Ryan Espy. Michael Todd. Michael Todd went straight up with this guy, left arm, and I remember seeing the video. I watched the video at the time 5 times and feeling sorry for Michael because he had the balls to go shoulder to shoulder against this guy, and they went boom, middle of the table, shoulder against shoulder, 2 fucking behemoths, and then you just see his arm give out. And
Michael did stop it. He did manage to stop the match
yeah.
before that happened. It was crazy. It was
prior to 2011, Michael Todd was one of my favorite arm wrestlers. Like that dude used to stand up and fucking pull legit.
Well, on that subject, on that segue, then let's talk about the title match: Michael Todd versus Jerry Cadorette.
Again, I'll let you go first. This is your.
Man, I don't know. Like I'm still on the fence with this one. Like it's okay. Michael has all the stuff about his arm being injured and his hand breaking in the first match. Historically, I don't remember who has the edge. I think is it Michael that would have the edge on wins in the past. Jerry obviously is super strong, but he might not be coming in at 100%. I love both these guys. I think they both make great champions. I need to say that I talked to Michael just last night. Like we talked on the phone. That guy is hungry. He wants to be the number one guy. Don't know. He's number one in the world so bad. He is putting everything else on hold in his life to achieve that goal. And I think when a guy is displaying that kind of commitment and the kind of dominance that he's had over super powerful guys in recent history, I got to say that it's going to be Michael that wins. It's going to be Michael at the end of the day that wins that match. Jerry's going to make it exciting. None of the matches are going to be short. And it's probably going to be 3-0.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, what is upping your training for a King's move? Like, what is never trained harder to be a King's mover? Like what? You basically lock your pronation and drop under the table. So where do you need to be strong? I see him doing chest workouts and shoulder.
Here's the deal, right? If Michael loses, it's not because his King's move has failed. It's because he has an established position. And every time that somebody pulls him in a King's move, he has hand control. So
we had hand control versus Jerry too. Didn't matter.
He's also, he did until his hand broke, right?
It didn't break, but anyway.
Well, okay. Well, I'm going by what he's saying here.
Okay, yeah.
But one of the essential pieces to that puzzle was taken away. So pulling through Jerry at that point became almost an impossible task. Now, Jerry has proved that he can sit in that position for like a meaningful amount of time and still manage to pull and pull and pull. But he's got some black and blue and purple in that arm where he's torn something in that match with Todd Zilla. And good on him to come in and make it to the final. But with Jerry not being 100% potentially, and even if he was, Michael, even though he primarily uses King's move, he's training all the small pieces of that move to the point where it's getting better and better and more dominant, and he can sit there and manipulate in the positions more. Like, we didn't get a good representation because Dave Chafee did not last very long pulling in that King's move. And when a guy that strong seems powerless against Michael Todd, man, that's very telling. And yeah, I'm still picking him 3-0. So what do you think?
Well, many reasons why I'll predict Michael Todd to win this. for Jerry to win the last one, Jerry had to put his body through absolute hell. He had to go through hell. Now, Michael would say he broke his hand, but it's a micro break. It's not like it was, kind of like the old stories of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Jack Lambert playing with a broken leg, playing a full game on a broken leg. You had a hairline fracture that allowed you to still function with it. So it's not like it's shattered and you're. Mm-hmm. So when people say I broke this, I broke that, and Michael claims he broke his arm 70 times, you had hairline fractures that heal fairly quick. So let's take that drama out of the equation. What Jerry had to do to beat Michael Todd was beautiful to watch. It was fucking awesome. Is he going to do it again? Just on the sheer laws of probability, he probably can't. Because what does Michael Todd have to do to win? He has to sit down, he has to get pronation, and he's got to pretty much wait for his opponent to fatigue. The only reason he couldn't get the win last time, and he got 2 wins, I believe, is because Jerry just refused to fucking give up and allow his heart to his heart rate was, fucking 200 beats per minute. Blood pressure must have been, I don't know what his body had to go through, the trauma it went through to win that match. But I can tell you that it's probably not going to happen twice. And for Jerry to win, he's got to go through pure hell. He's got to go through anguish. Everything has to happen for Jerry to win this match. The stars have to align within his body and his mind. For Michael Todd to win this match, he's got to get low with pronation. And he'll say, well, no one works harder. And like, we might have Michael Todd on the show next week, and I'll treat him with respect when he's on the show. And he does so much more for arm wrestling than I ever can. So I'm not going to start bashing him. But specifically talking about his move, when Jerry's redlining and Jerry's red and Jerry's this and Jerry's that, Michael Todd's heart rate is maybe 85. He can smoke a cigar while doing this move, hoping that his opponent just fatigues or elbow fouls. So based on this alone, you have to give the nod to Michael Todd because his body is exerting a lot less. It's a much more proficient move than Jerry's flop wrist shoulder press for 7-8 minutes. Like, there's a reason we haven't seen people win matches after 8 minutes against a King's mover, because for every minute that goes by, you're expending a hell of a lot more energy than the King's mover is, which why in a way the King's move is an efficient move, a super efficient move, because you're not burning. Michael Todd says he works harder than anyone else on the table. He wants it more. Well, or your angle, prevents your opponent from having such an easy day. Like, I don't know. But Michael Todd 3-1, 3-0. The thing about Michael Todd, much like the King's move, once you get one win, once you stop the match, your opponent's fatiguing at such a higher level than you are that you almost have to think it's going to be you're going to run the table after that. Which is why the King's move isn't the most doesn't make for the best matchup, because once a King's mover gets a win, if it's albeit in the first match or the second match, it's pretty much the match is over. The super match itself is over. It's easy to predict what happens after that. My heart's with Jerry. I love Jerry. Much like Todd Hutchins, these guys pull the way you're supposed to pull. They fight the way you're supposed to fight. They battle the way you're supposed to battle. But from everything we know from recent history with the last match they had, the laws of probability state that Michael Todd's going to win 3-0. Only because could Jerry duplicate what he did? And like you said, the last picture I saw of Jerry on Facebook, he had a bruised forearm. I mean, I don't know. The way Jerry arm wrestled in that last super match probably took him 6 months to recover. So who knows?
It was a month ago.
Yeah. So, well, I don't mean and the forearm bruising was a month ago. I don't know if it was a tear or what it was. So of course, much like many of the super matches, my heart goes to one guy. But objectively speaking, I have to go with if my money's on the line, I have to go with who I think objectively will win. With all the information I have at hand, and that's Michael Todd, 3-0, 3-1. And if it's the same thing we saw last time, and Jerry, there's 18 minutes or 19 minutes of hard pulling, and Jerry ends up winning, God bless that motherfucker. Like,
well, you know what? It's the match needs to happen to close the chapter, and this all started last season. Jerry gets a win on Michael. Somehow, Devon ends up in the final with Michael because he, in fact, beat Jerry throughout the season. This time, Jerry's been on a tear. He's been beating everyone, and Devon's taken some, or he's injured. So here we are. We're going in. We're going to finally find out who the guy is. And if Michael wins, he's essentially cleaned out the division. So then what? You could speculate all kinds of different things. He might be like RVJ next season. He might sit out until someone earns a shot in the final.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that happening. Anyway, we making any bets for the finals?
Well, I got 20 on Michael Todd. I got 20 on Devon. I got 20 on Katowski with odds, and I got 20 on RVJ with bigger odds. So I'll give you 3-1 if you want to take Justin. I'll give you 3-1 if you want to take Sam. That's steep. That's a good bet if you want to take it. And the other ones I go straight up 1-1, and I'll take Michael Todd and I'll take Devon.
Okay, I'm going to take Bortolato. I'll take you up on that bet, and I will take you up on Justin Bishop.
Okay, so if Justin wins, I owe you 60. If RVJ wins, you owe me 20, and we're even Steven. So either I owe you 80 or we're dead even on that match there. And then we got 20 on Devon. Perfect.
Okay.
You got. Yeah.
Those are the two, and
Gotcha.
we have the evidence here.
Yeah.
Raymond Cote, he gave you a great view. I'll put my order in today. Sheldon Short, making some orders.
Yeah, it really is a good. I was looking to be a little bit more critical, but I really can't really be more critical. It's really a quality item. It's even better. It's a better piece of equipment than the wrist wrench, because the wrist wrench basically is just, it has no moving parts. It's you can make a wrist wrench for $6. The only difference is I like for the way I pull and where my weakness is in strength lie. The wrist wrench, its progressive resistance translates better. Its training translates better to me in my progression. But for everyone out there, novice, amateur, pro, the Country Crush handles a fine
I'm going to
piece of equipment.
I'm going to get you out some Ezreal equipment, and then you can do a review on those.
And send me a fucking poster so we don't look at drywall behind my fucking head all day.
Yeah, and like yellow drywall. What's going on? We need a green screen with something on behind you.